Alex is a recently graduated UNH student who Sustainability Institute has worked with for the entirety of her 4 years here as an undergraduate and now as a graduate student pursuing her master's in secondary education. In her role with Trash to Treasure with me this year, she's brought such wonderful perspective and perseverance. T2T is a massive undertaking with a lot of moving parts, from figuring out how to wash hundreds of dishes to creating learning objectives and for different audiences that will be at our fall sale. As we have developed all of this structure in the last couple of years, there are constantly new questions without a lot of clear answers. And Alex has remained really confident in the face of these complicated issues and questions and challenges. And she's helped us really develop ways that we can simplify these operations of what has to go into our fall sale so that we can actually strengthen the ways in which we can better focus on education as a part of our larger events. I'm so excited for her to share more about what she's accomplished this summer, but it's just been awesome to work with Alex, as it always is. And yeah, take it away.
Sorry, thank you. And I'm sorry that, can anyone hear me? Okay. My computer is broken, which is, you can't see me, and my microphone's a little funny. So thank you for your patience. And thank you for your wonderful comments, Jade. I have been really grateful that I've been able to work with sustainability in the capacity that I have been able to, from like doing computer work with SI in my freshman year to now helping with Trash to Treasure. And so, like, as a refresher, if anyone doesn't remember, Trash to Treasure is a program housed within the Sustainability Institute that aims to run an annual spring moving out collection. So we collect donations of items from students who no longer need or want them. And then the fall move-in sale. So we sell all those items back to students, which we hope significantly reduces unnecessary landfill waste and providing students with back to school savings, and students who may not be able to afford certain items will be able to get them from this sale. I would like to go to the next slide, please. So at the beginning of the fellowship experience, Alexis asked the fellows what sustainability means to us. And definitely throughout this experience, my personal definition of sustainability has definitively shifted to incorporate the lessons I've learned from working with T2T. And so I would say right now in this moment, my definition of sustainability is the ongoing creation, maintenance, and craft of relationships to the self, to the other, and to the world around us. Next slide, please. As Jade mentioned, Trash to Treasure is a gigantic logistic endeavor with several moving pieces, which is a reflection of most sustainability efforts. I'm sure all of you who have worked in sustainability and my fellows have realized that there's a lot of pieces that need to fit into a huge puzzle, and oftentimes those puzzles interact with each other too. So my work this summer has showed me that those logistic efforts need to be scaffolded by really specific values. And here in this graphic, you can see that these are kind of the foundational themes of the work that we've kind of narrowed in on this summer. As an educational program, the goal is to impart these values with the community and with students. So we want students to feel like they have the agency to make change, to make an impact in terms of eliminating waste, and also educating students about that waste, and to encourage them to take that education and influence others. I cannot tell you the wonderful reactions I've had from working with people, from, even the plumbers from the university coming into the storage facility that we have in the basement of Williamson, to being like, oh my God, like this is so much stuff. And I get to explain what the program is. And so those like aha moments that people have been a really specific joy that I get to cultivate. And I would say that that goes into my favorite value, which is connection. it's the one that has impacted me the most throughout this summer. If you can go to the next slide. Um, Throughout the summer, we hosted volunteer days, and I was shown firsthand how sustainability is really a discipline of relationships. As we folded like a literal freight train car of donated clothing, two of the UNH employee volunteers that had come to help us, they had met for the first time, and they bonded over the fact that their mothers were both beginning to live with dementia. And we were like folding these pieces of clothing, and they were having a really vulnerable conversation with each other about like end of life care. And I was really inspired, and I felt very grateful to be human in that moment, that we were doing something that had nothing, quote unquote, nothing to do with what they were talking about, but had facilitated that connection. Ben, my coworker, and I have become really close friends while we've hauled dirty donated dishes to the dining hall to be cleaned. He comes and helps me about once a week, and we've talked about literally everything and nothing. And to Jade, we've both been really figuring out how to find joy in a growth mindset, which has been a difficulty and a really exciting opportunity for both of us. And we can both laugh at that discomfort, which I think is also part of the logistics of a project like this. And all those logistical needs are fueled by other people. And I learned that these relationships are what fuels me too. And so I'm excited for the fall sale, and I hope that those connections will continue to be made. So I'd like to thank Jade and Jen for their continued support and mentorship, and to the advisors, and for my group for being so wonderful. So thank you.
All right. Well, congratulations, Alex, on a very successful summer. These types of programs are such a big lift. And we are so impressed and happy that all of this waste is going to be put to good use, and that there were a lot of co-benefits along the way. So thanks for sharing those with us. I have one question for you to get us started, and then I'll pass it off to my co-advisors. I'm wondering what, if you could reflect on the tangible skills you feel like you're going to carry forward into your next job.
Yeah, so as Jade mentioned, I'm in my master's program for secondary education. And one of the, I love interacting with students, and I love everything that has to do with human connection. I am not very logistically minded. My brain doesn't automatically go there. But I'm sure, as Marie can tell you, like curriculum building and lesson planning is also a huge logistic endeavor. And even though I had a lot of growing pains throughout the summer in regards to that, I think that I know now what questions I need to ask myself to set myself up for success, whether it's like, time stuff, and what's the plan of attack if something goes wrong, things like that. And I think that those have been helpful in every aspect of my life, not only career-wise.
Thank you, Alex. I'm just so impressed by what you've done this summer and how much you've grown. So thank you so much. Other questions?
Yeah, sure. Hello, Alejandra. Very nice job with your project this summer. It was kind of a related question to what Andrea just asked, but I was thinking about it when you put up I think it was your second slide on the definition of sustainability. And if I'm remembering it, you were looking at connections with yourself, with other people, I'm assuming with environment, whether it's social justice or the environment itself. And I was kind of thinking about, for you in this project, how you see that in terms of how sustainability is related to connections with yourself, and how a project like this can really help that. I think you've answered part of it, but I'm wondering if there's anything more there about what we all need to be doing, right, as we're doing this work to really strengthen and keep it going into the future.
Yeah, thank you for a wonderful question. To be honest, I think in regards to the self aspect, I think this is the fifth time we're saying it, but Trash to Treasure is a huge logistic endeavor, and there's always something more to be done. And I think that one of the reasons that Jade and I get along so well is we both really are constantly really excited about improving things and how can we make things run better, and there's this kind of like, how can we better things, which is wonderful and exciting. I think that this also goes into the previous question that I was asked, that like I think I really had to learn how to slow down and like be patient with myself and my body, and be sustainable with my time, and like I know I've shared this with my advisors, like I have really significant ADHD, and I'm recently dealing with not being able to be medicated anymore. And so there are just days where my brain is really difficult to work with. And I think at the beginning of the summer, I really tried to push against it as much as possible, and which only resulted in almost like when you try to shift gears and it doesn't work and just car stalls out. Like I had to realize like there are just going to be days when that things are not going to go how I would like them, and time is not going to go as efficiently as I'd like it to, and all these sorts of things. And I learned that the most sustainable thing I can do for myself is to go with flow and be patient. And if things aren't perfect and things don't get better to a perfect amount, but only okay amount, that's enough. And that it's like, instead of going 90 miles an hour on a curved road, the best thing you can do is go slow, and you actually get there faster because you have to stop less. So I think that was something that helped me with my own self-sustainability.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for your presentation and for your work this summer.